All right, we'll get started here, guys. First of all, welcome everybody. My name is Jimmy. If you guys don't know me, I work for eClick Lending, and I wanted to start a little mastermind for us to kind of talk to each other about being successful in the real estate business, and helping our clients out to be the best that they possibly can be. So I named this Real Talk: Pro Tips from Top Producers, and I thankfully had graciously enough Pluchar from Keller Williams Preferred Realty first guest on our little mastermind here. So I'm going to be asking Ed some questions just about himself, his business, and then you guys at the end are gonna be able to ask any questions that you have about this. And again, put this out on my social media. I want this to be an open forum for us to kind of network with each other, learn from each other, and just turn our businesses into a really successful thing for not only each other but for our clients as well. Because I think we need to be there for our clients and be the best that we possibly can be. So without further ado, Ed, welcome and thank you so much, man. Just quick disclaimer before you start. I don't know Ed at all. I just reached out to him on Facebook and he was gracious enough to donate some of his time. Ed does a lot of really good business in Will County, and the surrounding areas. He's been doing well for a long time. So he's gracious enough to be my first guest. And thank you for coming on, man.
Happy to be here. So opinions are my own. Is that right?
Opinions are your own. That's
Yeah.
right. Yours and yours only.
Perfect.
And first question, just to get to know you a little bit, man. So where are you from? Where you currently live in? Where you currently reside? Like, what do you call home for yourself?
We currently live in New Lenox. It's my wife and 5 kids. And we bought that house as a foreclosure about 13 years ago. So we've seen some nice appreciation on that. Um, Grew up in Tinley Park. We spent 4 years in West Virginia kind of doing mission work. And then when our first was born, we came back here.
Very cool. Very cool. 5 kids. So I'm gonna actually talk to you about that as well too. Just balancing,
Nice to see you,
business
Amanda.
with family. But awesome. So living in New Lenox now. How did you get started in the real estate industry? Did you plan this from the get-go? What was your start in the real estate, industry and kind of where did that start for you?
Sure. I did not plan to be a real estate agent. That was the furthest thing from my mind until it wasn't. I originally was interested in real estate on the construction and the investment side. And then I realized I didn't really have enough money to do any investing, so I was just doing construction. Um, I was persuaded to give it a try by the realtor who helped us buy our house. Um, I always say this because I just think it's a funny story, but he said, "You should think about being a real estate agent. Have you ever thought of that?" I said, "No." And I said, "Why do you think why I should do that?" And he said, "Well, you're hardworking, you care about people, you're pretty smart. Most realtors are dumb and lazy." Like, that's a shining endorsement there. So I didn't immediately jump into it there, but that kind of planted the seed. And then sure enough, I saw one of my acquaintances who, not dumb, but not smart, not hardworking, but not lazy, just kind of in the middle, doing really well. And I was like, okay, I should give this a try, at least on a part-time basis. And, things just started clicking. And then I went full-time about 2 years later.
So you mentioned something about like real estate investing, or you were considering getting into some sort of investing on construction. Is that what you said? And kind of brought you into the real estate career?
Yeah, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was in
Sure,
college.
sure.
So I was like, this flipping, this landlord thing sounds like the ticket. And then I was doing mission work, like I mentioned. So I had no money to invest. So I was like, well, that's not going to work. So I detoured into doing home repair and maintenance and construction, basically as my career until I got into being a real estate agent.
Nice. Have you done any real estate investing like since I know that was kind of your starting point to get you into the real estate career. Have you done anything since you got into actually being a broker and an agent? And
Yeah,
has it helped? Has this career helped that?
without a doubt, without a doubt. We did happen to buy one property in West Virginia while we still lived there. It was a 2 unit. We still own that because it's just like it's a beautiful little cash cow. It just puts out money and costs almost nothing. But then after that, we really had a long-term hiatus till we started investing again. Almost, gosh, just about a year ago or a little over a year ago, we started investing again. Um, where real estate agency helped was obviously, you save enough from your commissions to be able to invest, but also the expertise of knowing what a building should look like, knowing some of the numbers, being familiar with that. So at this point, we have two units. We have one 4 unit, and then we have two Airbnbs.
That's awesome. It's funny. I hear a lot of people follow the same route that you have, right? They're like, I want to get into real estate investing or some sort of investing, don't really have the funds to do so. Let's kind
Mhm.
of parlay being an agent or a broker to build up those funds to invest. So that's awesome that you do that. And I think that's a good learning point for a lot of people who might be interested in real estate investing to maybe look at a career in real estate in general.
Mhm.
It's not as easy as everybody says. I think everybody tries to be a real estate agent, but you got to put in work
Okay.
to be
Yeah.
successful in it. But that's awesome. I think a lot of people can resonate with that. I've heard that before.
Sure.
Um, Next question for you, Ed. In regards to selecting brokerage, I know question I sent you before this was, how did you select your brokerage? But I kind of want to pivot on that. What goes into your mind when you're trying to pick the best brokerage for you personally? I know your opinions might be different from other people's, but just
For
from your
sure.
opinion on selecting the right brokerage for you, what kind of plays into that factoring of deciding?
I think the time of your career plays the most important role, at least it has for me. So the very first brokerage I took to was a brokerage that charged no cost whatsoever until I closed the deal. And that was great because I was part-time. I didn't have a ton of extra money to be paying monthly dues, things like that. So, closed a couple deals, paid a little bit of the commission split, and that was it. At that point, though, the split it was like 70-30. And what I really wanted to accomplish was to expand my business, to go full-time and to be able to, serve more customers and be able to make it a full-time gig. And I approached my broker and said, I need the split to be right about here. I think I said 90-10. He said, I really can't do that. It's got to be 15% or more. So I ended up going to another brokerage that was essentially a 0% company. And that worked out really well at that time in my life because that was my career, because that was the growth stage, right? I needed that money to do advertising,
Sure.
and they allowed me that opportunity to do that. Um, where I'm at now, it's sort of a more of a business structure, a little more sophisticated on the business building side. And that company, in my opinion, didn't have the tools and resources to get me to that next level. So that's where today I'm with Keller Williams, because they're obviously just famous for being a team building place, and with a lot of other business opportunities. So I think it just really depends on what stage you're at in your career.
Awesome. First starting out, or at least when you first got into the business, did you have any idea of what was working best for you in regards to a brokerage, or did you kind of just go with somebody who had referred it to you? How did that process go for you?
Yeah, I was referred to the first one, and I have no complaints. It worked out really well. I'll admit the chief thing though was that I wasn't paying monthly, right? That gave me the flexibility to do business as I saw fit. Um, from there, I think the second one was more like they were doing online advertising. I just got interested in the 0% idea. And then finally, it was a recruitment. It was a guy chasing me down for about a year and a
Sure.
half until I said I cried uncle.
And that's kind of the route you want to take. I think you want people wanting you, which is
Yeah,
build your business, which is great. So we had talked just via email before about team building, right? And I know you went through that process and kind of pulled back from it. Um, I guess my first question in regards to building a team, or at least my thoughts on a team, is I think people's goals, or at least they should have some goals of getting so busy that you need to add team members to help you serve your clients best. I think
yeah,
scalability is a little scary for people sometimes, or at least scaling your business to help serve so many clients, because I think, me personally, I struggle with my clients want to work with me, right? I feel like
mhm,
you have that ego thing of like, I don't know if like I can pass off responsibility to other people to take care of my clients. So if you could talk about just your process of building a team, maybe scaling that back a little bit with the team building, and kind of those thoughts that you had in regards to the whole team aspect. I know that's pretty broad, but you can speak,
yeah.
that would be great.
I think so, and obviously total transparency. So I did start building a team last year, and then shut it down about halfway through the year. The main couple of reasons were when I took my eye off my own production, basically all the profits, all the revenue went down. And it went down to an extent where it's like, okay, I'm either going to lose my house or I'm going to have to I'm going to have to jump back into
Sure.
single agent business here. And it wasn't that desperate, but it was trending that way. So I jumped back in, and things picked up, and it was kind of correcting the sales. What I learned in that little time snippet though was that um, I think it's a yes and no. I think there are some clients that really do want you. They see your name on it, see your face, you're their guy. And so you have to be careful about passing them off to another agent. The way I found that best was if I was very upfront about things and said, look, I'm definitely your agent. I'm going to work with you. If for some reason I get double booked or I can't make it, or you want to see a house faster than I can show it, here's my assistant who helps me, or here's my team member who helps me show houses when I can't be there. Most people are totally okay with that if they understand it's just like a one-time thing, occasional thing. However, if people come in more or less anonymously, meaning that they came in through an internet lead or something like that, they really don't know you or identify you as who they're contracting with. They almost could care less about you. So I had one of my team members doing a deal with one of our mutual clients, right? He was a lead that I brought in that my team member was working with. And my team member said, I can't make this appointment. He wants to see this property. Can you show it to him? As a practice, team leaders probably shouldn't be doing that, but I just did it because it was close to my house. So I met with this guy and he's like, he had the whole approach, which was totally appropriate, of Chris, this other agent, was his agent and was like the authority and the person that he responds to. And I was just a substitute, like stand-in. So I had to like suppress my ego quite a bit to be like, okay, yep, you're right. I'm subbing in right now. But that's ultimately what you want as a team leader, is not to have to be the ego in the room. You want to let somebody else have that space.
It's an awesome story. Kind of had to pause a little bit and put the ego down, which is great.
Yeah.
When you decided to kind of build a team, or is there like an income mark that you decide, like a unit mark? Hey, I need to add extra people. Like, where is that mark when you're like, man, I think I need help with this to keep my business going and keep the service levels up? Is there any sort of like mark for you personally, whether it be units, income, that decided, man, I think I need some more help with this?
So I think this was my mistake, actually. At that point, it was more I wanted to make a lifestyle change. I wanted not to have to be driving all those miles, meeting all those clients. I still liked it. I still liked meeting most of the clients, but the burden of being on the road all the time was getting to me. Whereas I think what it should be is kind of what you're alluding to. It should be a goal where I really can't manage this number of leads a month, but that's how many I'm bringing in. So I could keep bringing 20 or 30 or whatever it is and hand off the rest to another buyer's agent and take it from there. We'll see, because I'm kind of, not right now, but in the future, working on building the team from the ground up again. But I think it's going to look more like that.
Very cool. Awesome. I wanted to touch on something. You mentioned this at the beginning. And you kind of just alluded to the family life balance or work life balance. I mean, you mentioned you have 5 kids. I
Yeah.
only 1 kid, and I struggle with work life balance. How do you do it, man? What is there a key to that of, being successful, but also being, a great dad and a great husband? Like, what is that? What is the key to success, or at least some advice on those people who have families who want to be there for their kids and their family, but also want to be successful?
Yeah. The key for me is 99%, my wife, Marcy. She is on board. She sees, and this speaks to the answer though, she sees that, we set up our lives in such a way that we have a goal and we're trying to meet that goal. And this is just what it takes to meet that goal at this stage of our lives. But she really just like handles everything. She'll ask me to take over some things here and there, but she understands that if I'm, an hour away showing a house, I'm probably not going to make it back in 45 minutes to take this kid from this activity to that one. The other thing though is I think even with the kids, if they're involved in the practice and the business to some extent, like to where they understand it, I'm getting the sun now. They know not to expect you at every single thing, every single time. And you like to be there, you want to be there for them as much as possible, but that helps set the expectation. And then following up on that, when I make a commitment, say I'm going to be there for this, I do it. I even will cancel appointments, or I'll, if somebody wants to see $1 million house, can't see it today, it's got to be tomorrow. And you have to tuck that and go with it.
Awesome. It sounds like just setting expectations, right? And making
The
sure
big thing.
that you and your significant other, and even your kids, as you have mentioned to, my kid's that old yet where she really understands, but just setting expectations with your family. You can probably bring that into your business as well too, with your clients, just to make sure that you're really having the work-life balance, or the work balance that you need. I feel like people kind of shy away from setting those expectations. So that I'm glad you made that point. in regards to that.
And that's where team help. And it doesn't have to be a formal team like they're your agents, but if you're in a good relationship with somebody who you could say to a client, look, I work 6 days a week. Most people work 5. I work 6 days a week, but I don't work on Sundays. However, if you want to see something Sundays, I've got this agent who will cover it for you.
Very cool.
And then you can achieve it that way.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Um, let's see here. So I had a question for you, just making you or what made you kind of decide to branch off in your own brand? I see on your email, right? It's the Pluchar group. What made
Mhm.
you kind of decide to branch off into your own brand and then develop your own sort of space? Just you as the brand and as a guy. What made you decide to do that? And how did you do that too?
Yeah, I think the primary reason was like, okay, you're starting a team, it's got to be a group or a team or associates or whatever. Um, but a little below the surface on that is real estate is such I think it's very transitory in a lot of ways of being a real estate agent. And so you have to have something that's a little more permanent about you to appeal to people as a brand. They have to think, okay, it doesn't really matter what company he's with. That's who I'm dealing with. It's the Pluchar group or it's Ed Pluchar or whatever. So that was really the motivation behind it. The way to do it, I don't know if I've even done it perfectly or super well, but I think you just, the one thing, simply start using the name, right? So if you're creating a brand for yourself, use that everywhere. Put it on all your emails, your website, every single place you appear, and people associate that with you. Um, Probably one of the big things and where I hear about it the most, surprisingly, is we send out a monthly mailer of some kind. It's a postcard, it's a newsletter. It's my like a typed out letter, 4 pages long, 6 pages long actually, where it'll say, update on the Pluchar group, and I'll get incredible amounts of response from that 6 page letter. Who some people think will never read it. Turns out a lot of people are very interested in that kind of thing.
Is it more, that newsletter? Is it real estate? Is it family life? Is it anything, what's kind of it entailed with that? I mean, is it just real estate? Do you have some like book recommendations? Can you kind of expand on
Mm,
how that newsletter looks?
that's a great question. I've never thought of book recommendations. I might have to
Okay,
do that.
nice.
Um, so what it is, it's basically just a very 30,000 foot view of what the Pluchar group's doing. So I used to get into like number of units when I had sort of aspirational goals of getting to a certain level. Once I reached that, I backed off on announcing what the number was because I just thought it seemed a little gaudy, or I'll find the word later, but it just didn't seem right. It was a little
Sure.
gauche. So what I do now is just kind of detail, if we had a certain award or certain like a recognition kind of thing, we'll bring that up, with an update on who's on the team, what their role is, things are going well. And then I break it out into sections where now I'm including a section on investing with us. So
Cool.
we're doing Airbnbs. You can join into the group investing with us. Here's how. Or we're opening up a job position. It's going to be in that newsletter as well. That kind of thing. Anything charitable we're doing, it'll be in there as well.
Very cool. How often do you send that again? You said every weekly or monthly?
Monthly.
And you
But
told
the
that you
newsletter
release.
exactly.
Go
I
ahead.
do. So the letter is twice a year. I do it June and December. The newsletter is every third, like between splitting those, and then other months are all postcards.
You're mailing those out, emailing, or is that
Correct. No
actual mail?
mailing,
Awesome.
paper mail. Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. What a great idea. Something that I can kind of take with my business as well too. That's awesome. I think,
Yeah.
dude, I don't know. I mean, what's your take on this? I feel like people still go like read their mail, right? Like I know we've got all online and I understand that, but I feel like emails and text and calls kind of can sometimes we get so much of those, right? We're so bombarded with these emails and these offers and everything that I feel like mail, although maybe a little more manual, can
Mhm.
really yield some good results because I think people still need to go to their mailbox and look at the mail and take a look. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Or do you agree
For
with
sure.
that?
100%. I think having something in your hand is just a different experience altogether. I think an email is too easy to delete or ignore. Um, and the written letter, I mean, I'm sure, it's a less than half percentage that actually read it, but it's probably a better open rate than an email would be.
Sure. Awesome. Awesome. I had mentioned a question to you on the email as well too, just before this about what your current self would tell
Mm.
and who just got into the business, like if you had one thing to say right now that you can go back in time and say, Ed, this is what I want you to know about this real estate business and what you're going to be up against. I know you had some time to think about that. Can you share us with that? Like what that would be?
Yeah, how to phrase it, not exactly, but I think it's learn how to ride the roller coaster. So there's 2 roller coasters you're gonna have to ride. One is every deal, right? It's gonna have its up and downs, and the other is seasonal. Just talking to a friend today about it, where it used to be the first couple of years, we'd get to November, December, and obviously the lead flow, deal flow shrink a little bit, and you're just like, "What am I gonna do? Is this how it ends? Like, this is the very end of my career?" And, you've made the leap into full time, so you're like, "This is I've gotta feed my family with this, and it's all disappearing. What's going on?" But, of course, February comes, March comes, and everything picks up again. So, I would tell myself just to kinda stay even keeled about it. Get ready for it, plan for it, but don't freak out.
So how have you ridden that roller coaster? Or how have you learned to, right? Because I know it's you can say it, and I need to do this as well too, and with my business because we go through roller coasters just like you guys do in the mortgage world. It's tough, man, and it kind of wears on you, wears on your family life, or at least for me personally, especially with income coming in. It's so. What is? Do you have anything like? You do any meditation or any
Hmm,
sort of thing that like helps you to kind of stay even keeled when things are up and down?
great question also. I think the seasonal thing, you plan on it like you're gonna make a bunch of money in the summer, and you're not gonna make so much in the winter, so don't spend it all. Keep it in savings. Plan on that riding you out through the winter months. Um, I think within the day-to-day roller coaster, uh, 2 things help, and I'm a man of faith, so I go to church every Sunday, and that's a total balm for my soul there. But also having Sundays off. I used to just take appointments every single day of the week the first few years, and establishing that day that was, like, untouchable. There's no way I'm taking an appointment today. I'm gonna spend the time with my family. Just by Monday, you're ready. You're ready to go again.
I love that. Just taking a day to yourself and to your family is a
Yeah.
really good. Especially, it's hard to do that during the week, but I think if you can just put that, if you make it a point of like, listen, I'm not taking any calls today. I just want to spend some time doing what I need to do to reset. It just recharges you and gets you through those tough times. It's awesome. I'm also a man of faith as
People
well.
understand that. If you tell them it's my one day off, they're like, "Yeah, I get it." I get 2 days off, so 1 day is perfectly sensible.
Yeah, I feel like people would be surprised if you just like we talked about this at the beginning, setting expectations. I think
Mhm.
professionals would be surprised, like if you let your clients know, hey, can you kind of leave me alone today? Like I'll get back to you the next call."
Yeah,
How like gracious they are respecting your time.
yeah,
I don't think that's a hard ass to ask anybody. So that's awesome. And thank you for sharing that. Um,
sure.
just last question before I kind of open it up to anybody else who has any questions. What is your biggest piece of advice in succeeding in this current market that you could give to anybody, whether it be somebody who's just getting into business, somebody who's been a seasoned vet who's kind of struggling? What's your biggest piece of advice right now that you could give to
Yeah.
somebody to succeed?
It would be two-part. One would be ignore the noise. You got people thinking it's 2007, it's 2018. It's not that bad. Um, and 2 is to really put an emphasis on service, and that'll take care of itself.
Does anybody have any questions for Ed that he didn't mention? I can unmute everybody if they do have any questions, or just throw it in the chat. One second.
Thanks everybody for coming too. That's awesome.
Yes, thank you guys, seriously.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Janana.
I'm fairly new and I'm not really that experienced with the marketing. And what do you think about the Zillow agent, just signing up for the Zillow agent? Like, is that a good thing, a good way to start to just get out there?
Yeah, I definitely think so. For a specific company, I won't say much, but I think the model that lets you get exposed to new leads, no upfront cost is great for a new agent.
Okay.
I still with Redfin and do that regularly.
Okay. Well, Zillow is a price, but
Oh, you have
I'll
to pay
say
to join them?
yes, it was a price. I think it was like $35 a month.
Oh, that's not too bad. Okay. I thought you were gonna say 1,000 or something.
No, I wasn't going for like the elite. It was like just the beginner monthly
Okay.
for a certain zip code. They were doing like zip codes or something like that, I was told.
Yeah. Did they tell you how many leads to expect for that $35 entry fee?
They told me at least 3 a month. One would be a
Okay.
direct lead directly to me, but it could be more, but at least 3 per month because I was going in at the lowest amount because I'm new.
hmm I definitely would do it. I think I wouldn't put all my eggs in that basket, but for $35 a month and 3 leads, I think that's fine. And then I'd start looking at other avenues as well. If you have access to like Op City, that's another good one. And then Ojo's another good one. I think all 3 of those you can do as a starting agent.
Okay, thanks. Because 'cause I'm just
Welcome.
trying to get some exposure. I'm just trying to get out there.
Yeah. And, what's funny too, I forgot who I was talking to, but you're probably doing this, but I would talk to your SOI as well, your sphere of influence. If you can manage like an email or a text message or something like that, something written, plus actually reaching out to them. I don't do the phone call anymore, but I used to call them, and I definitely still mail them and email them on a regular basis.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Great question. Anybody else have any questions for Ed? Anybody?
And of course, you can all feel free to reach out. I see Amanda here. We've talked before a number of occasions. But I'm happy for anyone to give me a call or text me or whatever for future questions.
Yeah, and I'm also going to I'm thinking about starting just a Facebook group just with the this community that come and kind of talk. So I'll add all of you guys. You can reach out to Ed directly. I'm gonna send out all of his contact information as well. If you guys have any questions for him, and then add you guys to the Facebook group. But nobody else has any questions. Thank you guys so much for coming on and Ed, thank you so much, man. It was super insightful to hear from you. And I appreciate all of your opinions and just thank you for being the first guest here as well.
No problem.
You on here and I really appreciate it. So thank you guys. Ed, anything else you have for anybody?
No, that's it. I appreciate you having me on. It's a great platform. And you have many good years ahead of you.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you guys. Everybody make it a great rest of your week and I'll be in touch with everybody just with some feedback. I'm going to ask everybody who was on here just for some feedback on how you guys like this platform. Same with you, Ed, as well too. Any feedback to me is very much appreciated. And then I'm going to continue to host these every 2 weeks. So I have another guest lined up for the next 2 weeks, and hope to see you guys on the next one as well too. So Ed, thank you guys. Thank everybody. And have a great rest of your week.
All right.
Thank you,
Take care.
Jimmy. Thank you, Ed.
Guys.
No
Bye.